Emily, I always like to start from the beginning and just background stories about people like me. Like I remember how I always say like I never thought that I would be a technology CEO, but when I look back on I used to play chairman of the board with my Barbie dolls and I used to play with my little Commodore 128 computer all the time. So I love asking people about their background and sort of where they're from and sort of what their childhood was like. So tell me more about Emily from the start.
Well, God, I guess you could say I've kind of lived about 100 different lives up until this point in my life. So when I was younger, I lived in Northern Ireland. So I am Irish, but I lived there until I was sort of 6 months old, and then went back to Hong Kong. So my family was based out in Hong Kong at the time. So we were there for about 3 or 4 years, and then we moved back to Ireland for another 2 years. And then after that, I spent most of my childhood in the Middle East. So I grew up in Abu Dhabi. So I have a lot of kind of I guess my childhood was very multicultural, moving to lots of different schools. I was always the new girl. I think I did about 13 different schools by the time I was 18.
Wow.
So yeah, so I was always kind of, I guess, the new girl trying to fit into different educational systems. Um, yeah, I mean, and going from one education system to the international education system back to the English system. So, I mean, I think it really, in a way, it was a great learning experience. I can plot myself in any situation, in any group of people, and just chat to them, and kind of, I guess, just kind of float in with people, with different types of people quite easily from all of those experiences, because I guess you had to learn to be, dynamic and just kind of go with the flow a bit. But it definitely, I mean, there was a lot of elements in my childhood where I definitely didn't feel good enough. And I think that stems from always feeling behind at school, always struggling with like classes, and I think that was because I'd kind of missed a lot of education, moving around. And it wasn't really until I was 17 and then I went to a college. And also I was a bit of a rule breaker when I was younger.
Oh,
I
tell
didn't
me
want to
more
follow.
about that.
I didn't want to follow anyone else's rules. So I went to boarding school, which is obviously very rigid.
Ooh,
But by the time I was 17, I went to a college which was very, laid back. You wore your own clothes, and so I think by the time I got there and I felt like I had my own identity, I think I settled down a lot, and actually went and repeated my A levels. So first time round, I think I got a C and an E. But then, really found business studies. And I think that was where almost like a little light ignited in my brain. And suddenly was said, right, I'm going to do this. I really want to set up my own business. It was around the time when Richard Branson had just started to become famous. It was like, that is what I wanted to do. I wanted to be like Richard Branson. And so, yeah, so went back, redid my A levels, got A's and B's, did economics in a year, got a B in it, and went to Manchester University to do international business, finance, and economics.
wow.
So yeah, so there was a lot of kind of change and a lot of transition in my childhood. But yeah, it held me in good stead, I think, for my future challenges.
Definitely. So that is a lot. I think one, going the process of like living in different countries and then, yeah, going through different school systems and everything, definitely challenging. But like you said, I think that those experiences seem to really develop you and shape you. And I'd love to learn more about how you feel those experiences helped you, how you use that experience to help you in your career journey along the way. And also even while going through school and like the process, like how do you feel those
I think
experiences helped you do
I
certain
think it
stuff?
gave me a level of determination. Determination, first of all, to be the best, but also to prove to myself that I could do it. When I was at school, like I said, I wasn't, top of the marks or top of the grades or anything like that. And I think By the time I got to 17, that's when everything sort of turned around, and I said, right, I can do this. I know I can do this. And actually, it was one of the teachers at the time. She turned around and she went, you can do anything you want, Emily. You know, you have the capacity and the ability to do anything you want with your life. And she actually really changed me. And I think that gave me a lot of determination. And I think I've really drilled that determination into everything that I do, and just like an absolute grit of just never accepting no for an answer,
Wow.
you
Okay.
know, and just being able to think on my feet and really think, okay, this is the problem. And actually, over the last 10 years, which I'm sure we'll get into, you know, that's really, I've now got the confidence now to think on my feet and say, right, we'll solve the problem like this and just do it. You
Okay.
know, that, but that's taken obviously experience to
Yeah.
get to that point.
Times, yeah, to like build all that up and everything. Absolutely. I remember, when I was first starting out, and similar to you, I think you have those moments where you meet certain people where they help you to almost identify something that you probably didn't even realize was in you. I had a similar
Yeah,
experience where, I met somebody who, woman, female, went to my university. She was an alumni from there, and she went on to work in Wall Street. And I was like, I didn't even know that was possible for me. And
yeah,
that's where I was like, wow, like this is what I really want to do. And I was so determined, like, okay, I'm going to do this and I'm going to make it happen.